And yes, we are live. Thank you for joining me today. If you can hear me, if you can see me, say hello, say hi. Yes, thank you for joining me today on today's episode of Going to the Week. I'm excited to be here. Who's excited with me? Yeah, say yay, you're excited to be here with me. So now let's get right into it. Hmm. Today's topic is, it's personal for me. Personal, really personal for me because it's something that I've been working on and I've been making a conscious effort to actually improve about myself, right? So, we're going to be talking about keeping promises to yourself. Welcome to this week's episode of Going to the Week. I'm Dr. Chimsom Ogu, your skin and confidence doctor, and I help you glow from inside out. Who likes glowing? Yes? Yes. So let's dive right into it. Good evening, beautiful people. Today we are talking about something simple, but the truth is that it is life changing, you know, something that some of us inadvertently, you know, just do without actually thinking of what it actually implies or what it actually means to us and to people around us and how it affects us. That is keeping the promises that we make to ourselves. Yeah, sometimes we make promises to ourselves. We don't even realize that we have made those promises. We just, take it for granted and just move on. The reason many of us don't trust ourselves, the reason many of us are not proud of who we are, is not because, we're not capable. It's simply because we don't follow through on what we say we are going to do. You say you're going to do something and then you just find an excuse every time not to do that thing, and then you just shove it off like it's not a big deal. So every time you say to yourself, I will do this thing, and you don't, the truth is that you're breaking the trust that you know that you're breaking trust with your own self. So imagine disappointing your own self by your own self because you lack discipline, because you actually, it means that you don't respect yourself, you actually take yourself for granted. And with time, you stop to believe in yourself, you start to procrastinate more, and then you start to feel stuck. And gradually your own confidence, drops. I know that when you think about it, this way, some of us don't really want to be in that space. We don't want to be in that space where we don't actually trust ourselves, or we don't, believe in our own self. We don't want to be there. It's important that we have to make conscious effort not to find ourselves in that space. Confidence is not necessarily built by motivation, it is built by keeping the tiny promises that you've made to yourself. Today, I'm going to fast. Today, I'm going to read 2 pages. Today, I'm going to wake up early. Today, I'm going to, have a routine, wake up by 5 a.m. Small promises that we make to ourselves. Yes, we take it for granted. Confidence is built when you show up consistently, when you're supposed to show up. That thing you say you're going to do, when you do it. So once you do that, you begin to trust your own self and know that you can achieve. They start looking like small wins that you've achieved, and it gives you the confidence to actually go and do more things. So even the Bible says in Luke that he who is faithful in little becomes faithful in more. God, gives him much so that he's faithful in much. Because imagine that you can't even trust your own self. You can't even keep the promises to your you kept. That's the promise you said you're supposed to keep for your own self. How are you going to keep promises for other people? How is God going to trust you more when you've not been able to control your own urges, control your own self, and organize yourself? You can't do more. The Bible says that the soul that is diligent shall be made rich. So, for you to even excel and be rich and do well, you have to be diligent. You have to honor yourself. You have to be consistent, not just having the intention of when I will do this 10 years time. I'll do this tomorrow, and you keep procrastinating. Procrastination is one of the thieves of you know us keeping promises that we make to ourselves. I used to be in this space where I will make myself a promise and I just didn't understand the impact of not keeping promises to myself. I didn't understand that I was actually, breaking my own heart. Let me put it, if I can put it in a simpler way. Because I just took it for granted. After all, it's me. But you have to value yourself to be able to keep promises to yourself. When you tell somebody else, I'm going to do this, sometimes a lot of us actually go out of our way to do it, even when it's not convenient. So why would you do the same thing to you for your own self? For example, this month I used to hear people say, "Oh, I've read 4 books in a month." And I was like, "Yeah, how are you people doing this thing?" I just thought, "Oh, if it's not possible now, how will you just read 4 books in a month? That's too much." There's someone say she reads 6. I was like, "How?" And then I started reading 1 book a month. I honestly, I struggled. Then 2 books. Some months I'll finish one, some months I'll finish two. It wasn't consistent and all. Then this month I give myself a challenge, and I try to you know be accountable by putting it on my WhatsApp status, so that, because I wanted to make the promise to myself, and also I want people to hold me accountable. I knew that there were people that were going to be asking me, "Oh, have you finished? Oh, this, oh, that." And I started sharing, what I read in my books on my status. And the month isn't over. I have finished 3. I've started the 4th one. And I know that before the month ends, I'm going to finish it. So I made a promise to myself and I found a way to keep that promise. If you tell me that I'll read 4 books in a month, even just last month, I was like, this is a lie, it's not possible. But you know what that gives me? It gives me the confidence to dare myself and try something else, because I was able to achieve this thing that I thought was impossible. Yeah, I thought I couldn't do it, and I'm here doing it. So what did I do? I just told myself, Chisom, when you want to scroll, when I catch myself strolling, drop your phone and pick your book. And the truth is that I can tell you things that I've learned from the books I picked to read. Some of them I didn't know them, and I know that I'm going to be a better person for it. So make a commitment to keep the promises that you kept to yourself all the time. And you know, it's important because it's going to increase your knowledge, increase your confidence. It's also going to show you that you can trust yourself and believe in yourself. Honestly, there's nothing like that. Like this week, this month, I actually feel like I'm flying on air. Like I can do anything I set my mind to. That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. That I can set my mind to do anything. I can excel and also make a point of view to do that promise you make to yourself. Don't take yourself for granted because it is you. Treat yourself the way you treat a king. If a king comes to visit you, or a queen, you're going to make them a promise. Oh, I'm going to come and I'll be there, I will serve you. Those are small, small promises. So why won't you treat yourself the way you treat those people? Why won't you respect yourself enough to keep those tiny promises that you keep? You see, don't if you know you cannot do it, don't promise yourself that. The same thing, like I tell my children, I don't want to make promises to you that I will not keep. So I avoid making promises as much as I can. I will always tell them, "Oh, I will do this," but I'm not promising. I will try my best, because once I say it as a promise, I'm bound to do it. So why not you hold yourself, do that for your own self, so that it builds your confidence, it builds your trust in yourself. The truth is that after I read the 10th book, honestly, yesterday I was so excited with myself because I didn't believe that I'll be able to read 3 books in a month. It wasn't something I thought, but I made that promise to myself this month, and I'm like, bring it on. Anything I want to do, that's the way I feel. It has given me, a new zeal that I can just take a challenge and just do it. I'm about to finish that. I started reading the 4th book. Come on, it's not an easy something. But the real win is not that I finished these books. The real win for me is that I kept a promise to myself. You know, I was able to prove to myself that I could follow through on something. That's how you build confidence. Pick one thing that you can actually follow through. Now, why do we break promises to ourselves? Sometimes we rely on motivation. The truth is that motivation is not enough. Motivation can start you on the journey, and you start moving. 3 days, 4 days, you're doing. But with time, motivation doesn't keep you on that journey. It's going to wane. So what you need systems, you need a structure to make sure that you actually follow through and follow that from. For example, for reading, what I told myself, because I know that if I don't read in the morning, I won't read. If I miss it that day, I won't read again. So I told myself that I will wake up and usually I will, take a walk. And I told myself that before I take a walk, I will read 25 pages every day. So I, put it into a something I was already doing. So when I wake up, I wear my workout clothes, make my bed, and then I read that book. So I start waking up earlier than I usually wake up, so that I'll be able to finish 25 pages before I took a walk and started my day. Because any day I miss it, it became a struggle for me, to follow through. So with time this month, I created a system that, irrespective of my motivation, when my motivation waned, that system was able to sustain me to be able to read consistently for the past, what's today's day, 26 days. You know, and sometimes another thing when we break our promises is that we set unrealistic goals for ourselves. Come on, you have not read for how many years? You now want to start reading to it. Start with reading 25 pages a day. You've not read for so long. The truth is that you're going to be worn out. It's unrealistic. So, but if you say, okay, every day I'll read two pages, I'm just giving you an example of a promise you can make to yourself. Or every day you want to lose weight, or every day I'll take a walk for 10 minutes. If you've never been taking a walk, don't go and start going to the gym and spending 5 hours a day. You're going to wear yourself out. That's just the truth. So, set goals that you can comfortably achieve. Don't make it unrealistic. If not, you're going to break that promise that you've made to yourself. And like I said before, make sure that everything you want to do, there's a structure to it. And that means I do this, from this I do that, and make it seamless so that it just, you know, adds to your day. Before I brush my teeth, things that you do already, attach to those things so that it makes it easy for you to keep that promise to yourself. If you know that, oh, I'm going to be exercising every day, you made a promise to yourself, so keep it. Put a time. Once you don't put structure, once motivation wins, that's the end. You're not going to achieve it. That's just the truth. That's the mistake some of us make. Oh, so okay, I'm not going to eat junk food again, and then you're buying junk. I'm not going to take alcohol. Yeah, there's alcohol in your house. Motivation has a limit. You have to create an environment that allows you to do that thing that you want to do. Because if you don't create an environment, it's going to be a problem. You're going to struggle. Your motivation is going to lose at some point. So if you don't want to eat junk, remove junk from your house. Don't buy junk. If you make your promise yourself that you're going to be eating more vegetables, buy more vegetables. Don't go to the shop and go and buy bread. So those are little things that we can do to be able to keep promises that we keep to ourselves. So and sometimes another reason why we break our promises is that we don't hold ourselves accountable. We expect others to hold themselves accountable or to be accountable to us, but for ourselves, we make excuses. The truth is that excuses are valid. There's no excuse you're going to make that's not valid. That's the simple truth. Your excuses are okay and they are real, but the truth is that there are people that are not making them. There are people that are in your circumstance or even work circumstances that are achieving those things that you're making excuses for. So it's up to you. You want to remain mediocre, keep making excuses. If you don't want to shine, keep making excuses. You know, Another thing, issue that makes it difficult for us to keep promises that we prioritize others over ourselves. We think that, oh, take care of family, take care of this, and then we want to keep all the promises we made to others, fulfill our, obligations to them, and we forget ourselves. We forget that we are the center. That if we don't take care of ourselves, those people or those things, and maybe for example you don't take care of yourself and you die, that those things will continue. Life continues. Nobody's going to wait for you. Yes, and they're going to be all right whether you're there, whether you're not there. So that's something that we should actually become conscious of. So when you don't keep your promises to yourself, it makes you to start to doubt who you are. You start to doubt yourself and ask yourself, am I really, can I really do anything? Because somehow you start to erode your own self-confidence, small, all by yourself. Because you said, I'm going to be eating fasting and this thing. Start asking yourself, I'm not disciplined enough. The devil starts to put things in your head. You start to question your actions. You start to shrink when the opportunities, because for example, you promise you're going to be reading books, and then an opportunity comes, you feel like, maybe because I've not been reading, I'm not good enough to take that opportunity. Sometimes they are not even connected, but because you have failed and disappointed yourself a lot of times, you don't have the courage to move forward and do the things you need to do. Now, you start to hesitate, and then it makes you not to show up like your true self. You don't show up truly because deep down, you've lost trust for yourself. You don't just trust yourself. So it's very important. Now, what are the ways that we can, start to make promises for ourselves? Keep the promises that we make to ourselves. Start small. Be careful what you say you're going to do. And when you say you're going to do something for yourself, follow through. Do it. Don't start saying, "Oh, I'm going to lose 10 kg in 1 week." It's not practical. It's not possible. It's not. It's something that is a promise you are going to fail. You're going to break. So practice with small things that you can actually follow through on, and then find a way to be accountable to yourself. Or you get a community that will keep you accountable, and you can start with that. But the truth is that it's important that even when you have a community, you get to a point where you start to push yourself, because people are not going to be there for you to push you at all times. People have their own problems. So yes, you can start with an accountability group, friends that you're accountable to, but get to the point where you now take over, and then you can motivate yourself, start, stay accountable, and follow through. Now, journal. Journal is a way of staying accountable. Sometimes if you know you're going to reflect, there's some decisions that you not make, and then when you start to reflect through your journaling, you can identify patterns, or you know situations that make you break your promises, and then you can do better when you're faced with those things. So you cannot repair what you cannot see. And that's what journaling does for you. Now, curate your environment. Get people around you to help you stay accountable. Like sometimes I tell my children, "Oh, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to shout. When I shout, let me know I'm shouting. I don't want to do this." So, and the next thing you hear, "Mommy, you're shouting." Or I tell my husband, "Help me do this, help me do that." I curate my environment. I don't put things around me that tempt me to, do the things that I don't want to do. I don't want to go to, if I want to read book, if you go and lie on your bed, you're most likely to sleep. Yet you promise yourself you're going to read 10 pages. So if you know that you're tempted by sleep when you lie on your bed, why are you reading on your bed? If you know that you're tempted to go to Instagram or whatever when you're reading on your book, why not get a hard copy? Why not read with a hard copy? I'm just giving you an example. So any promise you make to yourself, be sure to keep it and stay with it. Then, like I said before, build structure that you're going to keep to. Another thing that you could do is to set deadlines. Don't just leave things open. Say, "I'm going to do this before this." I want to say that. Let somebody know, stay accountable, and keep that deadline. Now, create your environment so that you don't have distractions that draw you away from keeping the promises you make to yourself. And then find ways to reward yourself consistently. When you do something, tell yourself, "Oh, just so you did this, you're doing well, get yourself something small. Say, when I achieve this, what I'm going to do for myself." Spoil yourself a little. I'm going to, it doesn't have to be expensive, but I'm going to take myself out when I do this. I'm going to buy myself a new hair, maybe you like, hair ruffles or something, just a new pen. Just reward yourself when you actually keep that promise. And then track your progress weekly. Write it down, journal it, so that you know the things that shift you from doing what you said you're going to do. Focus on building discipline. We're not saying you have to be perfect, we're not moving for perfection. We just want to be disciplined so that we can grow. Now, Ecclesiastes says it's better not to vow than to make a vow and not fulfill it. This doesn't just apply to others, this also applies to you. So make sure that when you make a vow to yourself, you see that's important to fulfill it, as you see, as it is for everybody. So when you keep your promise to yourself, you find that you start to trust yourself more, you start to respect yourself, and you start to show up like a different person, and you stop shrinking. Your confidence shows truly. So when you make promises, there has to be a level of discipline to it. So this discipline creates peace, and then the peace that comes with being disciplined creates confidence, and then confidence creates your glow, that glow that comes from within. You glow differently when you trust yourself. So I want to charge you this week. Your charge for the week is this: make one promise to yourself, just one, not not 10, not 20, not too many, and keep it. Keep it irrespective of the circumstances around you that, you know, are making it difficult for you to keep it. Just tell yourself, this one promise I will keep this week. So now, to get into the week, let's say affirmations for the week. Say with me, I keep promises to myself. I trust myself. I follow through consistently. I am disciplined and focused. I glow from within. The truth is that the confidence that you are looking for is in the promises you are not keeping. I want to enjoin you to start there by keeping those promises to yourself. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Dr. Chimsom Ogu, your skin and confidence doctor, and I help you glow from inside out. See you next Sunday by 8:30. If you have not followed our page, please follow, like, and share to somebody that may benefit from this video. Ciao. Thank you for joining me. Have a good night.